Alright, the objective for this video is to be able to divide fractions, including mixed numbers and improper fractions. And so I already gave you the instructions for, or the steps for the multiplying fractions. And in there was step 1b, which was to, we added that in there to divide fractions. So here it is again, if you don't have it or you missed it the first time. How to multiply and divide fractions. Let me get it centered there for you. Okay, it's up there. You can pause it at any time. Alright, that's enough. So, let's do a few of these together. Let's try 2.5 divided by 3/11. Well, step 1 is to convert any mixed numbers to improper fractions. So we'll go ahead and do that. That's going to give us 5/2 divided by 3/11. Now, the next thing we need to do is to change this to multiplication and then take the reciprocal of the second fraction. So that's 5/2 times 11/3. Now we can try to see if any of these factors cancel with these factors. And all of these are really prime numbers, so nothing's going to cancel. And so we have 5 times 11 is 55, and 2 times 3 is 6. So 55, let's see, 9 times 6 is 54. So we have 9 and 1/6 remainder. Now, we can check to see by estimation if this is correct or if this is approximately correct. Let's see, if you had 2.5, okay, pizzas, right? Forgive my horrible circles. 2.5, and you divide this into, let's call that approximately, what do you want to call it? Thirds or fourths? We call it fourths, I suppose. 3/12 would be fourths. So we're going to divide it into fourths. Okay, how many do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we have here 9 and 1/6. That's a pretty good, pretty close estimate there. So I'd say that we did it correctly. Okay, let's try another one. Let's do, I'm trying to get away from that glare. 9/14 divided by 15/28. Okay, well, there are no mixed numbers, so we don't need to do that. I'm going to go through that glare there. And we can now take the reciprocal of the second fraction and make this 9/14 times 28/15. So here we can see some things that will end up canceling. If we factor this 9 to be 3 times 3 and the 28, we could do 4 times 7, or let's just do 2 times 2 times 7. That's prime factorization. Okay, and then on the bottom we will have 2 times 7 times 3 times 5. We can see one of these 3's cancel, and one of these 2's cancel, and one of these 7's cancel, and we're left with 3 times 2 is 6, and the only thing left here on the bottom is 5, so we're left with 6/5. We can convert that back into a mixed number of 1 and 1/5. Now, let's just estimate to see if that's approximately correct. 9/14, I know it's a little bit more, but I'm going to say that's about 1/2. And then we're going to divide this by another thing that's about 1/2. Well, how many times is a half go into a half? It goes in about once. So there's about, if you divide a half into halves, you get 1/2 of a half, right? Not 1/4. I didn't say that right. 1/2 in halves is 1/2. So you get about 1. 1 and 1/5 is pretty close. Okay, last but not least, this is a tricky one. Okay, I'm showing you the difficult one on purpose, and there is a method to the madness, believe it or not. There's my glare there. Let's do this divided by 3 and 69 over 77. All right, now, I know these are unusual numbers. I think you'll see why as we work this problem out. 143 times 1 is obviously 143. 143 plus 37 is a nice even 180 over 143. Now, 77 times 3 is going to be 210 plus 21. 210 plus 21 is 231. And then 231 plus 69 gives us also a nice even 300 over 77. We're going to flip this fraction upside down, take the reciprocal, okay, and then change that to multiplication. Now, I know that a lot of you guys can see some of these things that cancel, but let's just go through the motions here. 180 divided by, I just do it this way, okay, so you can do it in your head easily, right? 180 divided by 2, you got 90 left over. 90 divided by 2, and you can see how I'm writing these things that I'm dividing by. 90 divided by 2 is you got 45 left over. 45 divided by 3, you have 15 left over. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Now let's leave the 143 for a second because I have no idea what that's going to be. Well, I do, but you probably don't. And then 77 is going to be 7 times 11. Probably most of you guys can see that. How about the 300? Well, 300 divided by 2 gives us 150. 150 divided by 2 gives us 75. 75 divided by 3 gives us 25. 25 divided by 5 is 5. Now, here's a little hint for you guys who cannot see right away, maybe, what 143 is divisible by. Oftentimes, when they do these problems, they're trying to make something cancel. So if you have something weird that you don't know what it's going to be divisible by, just leave it until the end, see if you can do everything else, and then the numbers that I would try first are the numbers that are up here. I don't see it being divisible by 2 because it's not even. I don't think it's divisible by 3 because we know that if we add this up, 1 plus 4 is 5 plus 3 is 8. That's not divisible by 3 then by the divisible by 3 rule. So let's try 7 and 11. Well, if you took 143 and divided by 7, you wouldn't get a whole number. But 143 divided by 11 just happens to be 13. So again, you could just take 143 and try it with 7 and 11 first before you try any other kind of weird numbers. Okay, so let's cancel some of these things out. 2 and a 2, 2 and another 2, 3 and a 3, 5 and a 5, and we have this 11 and 11. 3 times 7 equals 21. 13 times 5 equals 65. And so we're left with 21 over 65. Now, let's kind of check this answer. I'm just going to do some very crude rounding. I'm going to call this 1, and then, I don't know if I can draw this correctly. 1 1/3. I'm going to estimate this or approximate this to 1 1/3. And I'm going to call this, since it's 69 over 77, I'm going to call this approximately 4. Okay? So I'm going to take this 1 1/3 and divide it into fourths. So I'm left with when I divide 1 1/3 Whoops, it's not a good way to show this. If I was to divide 1 1/3 into fourths, okay, let me get another color here. This is what this actually looks like. I have 1 1/3 divided into fourths. I know this can be a little bit confusing, but this is, believe it or not, what 1 1/3 divided into 4 wholes looks like. And if you look at the big picture, okay, 1 1/3, if you divide it into 4 wholes, okay, you really only have about 1/3, right, of, think about it, okay, that would be a second. I don't know if I have another color. That would be a third. So if you look at the black, 1 1/3 out of 4 is about 1/3 of the total of 4, and we have the answer of 1/3. Now I know that is a little bit confusing, but hopefully when you start looking at how these things are modeled, maybe it will come to make more sense to you later on. Anyway, that would be the lesson for today. Thank you as always for watching.